What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. Friday, January 19th, 2024, man. NBA Talk with Jay. Trying to get some cash, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you like the show, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, man. Let's try to get 2,000 likes on today's show so I can do a Saturday show, man. That's what unlocks it right there. 2,000 likes, man. I know we can get there. There's definitely more than 2,000 people that watch the show, guys. So if we can, let's get to 2,000 likes, and there will be a Saturday show. May even do it tonight, but for sure it would be a show for the Saturday games. All we need to do is get 2,000 likes. So if you have to create another account, man, hit that motherfucking like button. Let's get straight to it here today. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, my guys. It's all business on the show. Let's get straight to it here. I'm not here to waste your time. Let's get over to the streets of Charlotte in this one, guys. Hornets laying 4.5 points at the house versus San Antonio Spurs. We know that Wemby's not playing both sets of back-to-backs, and he's sitting this game out. The first game of a back-to-back. We knew this yesterday that he was going to sit this one out. The Spurs did just smack these boys up 135-99 in that game. Spurs were laying 3. That was the first game that LaMelo Ball came back. I remember everybody was hopping on Charlotte. I was like, maybe not so fast. The first game back with everybody coming with the star player coming back in is not the best spot for the team. They went out there and got absolutely smoked. Wemby damn near dominated him as well. He had and he only played 19 minutes and 41 seconds. He had 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks in that game, guys. But they're not going to have him here tonight. I did see that Zach Collins might come back, but he's been out for like 5 or 6 games. It's probably going to be super rusty. He's really the only center that they have on the team. So the way I look at this game, the Hornets have lost 6 straight home games. They've lost 6 straight games. They've lost 6 straight home games as well. They are coming in off of a 3-game road trip, which every single game they got smacked up. This is a spot where the Hornets, they're not going to win many games so in the season, but I still feel like when you're a tanking team and you want to get off of a losing streak, it's likely going to happen at the house. Like the games that you're going to at least go for the win are going to be games at the house. They got LaMelo Ball, they got Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, Bridges as well. You see what I'm saying? So hopefully it'd be nice if they got Brandon Miller back in this game. But I said all that to say that like you want no part of the Spurs without Wemby, in my opinion. Obviously he's been their best player. I'm starting to think if he's gonna come back and win Rookie of the Year. Now the team stats are horrible and their record is horrible, but I'm starting to notice that Chet Holmgren is really slowing down. While his team has a lot better record, Holmgren on his stats is really slowing down, and I just feel like Wemby is gonna come back and close as the favorite as the Rookie of the Year, my guys. So that's just what I feel in this one. But I do kind of like the Hornets here, -4.5. I had one top play today, it would be Hornets. Obviously, it's really tough to lay points with these teams, but with the Spurs resting Wemby on this first game back-to-back, just kind of seems like they're kind of tanking this game, in my opinion. So you got quick revenge with the Hornets after just getting smacked up by 36 points, and they've lost 6 straight home games as well. This is one of their better chances to get a win at the house. You look at their record coming up. They don't really have a great chance to have a win in their next few games at the house. Let me see. So the next few games they play at the house is tomorrow. They play Philly. After that, they got Houston, Utah, New York, Chicago, Indiana, LA, Toronto. Their next chance to win at the house would probably be February 10th versus Memphis. I think the Hornets win this game outright. Obviously, it's getting a little tricky when you come to laying points, but I think the Hornets actually could be this could be a blowout potential game here for the Spurs, who don't have a ton of rim protection. So LaMelo Ball could possibly go crazy in this game. Him, Bridges, PJ Washington drop to the basket every time. A couple quick early fouls on Zach Collins, and it's going to be a world of hurt for the San Antonio Spurs in this one tonight, guys. Obviously, anything could happen. I mean, the Hornets could choose to tank this game away. It's very possible, but I do think with revenge, and after losing so many games at the house and getting blown out in every single game so far, that LaMelo Ball is ever since he's came back, they've gotten blown out in every single game. 3 games, they got blown out by 36, 17, and then 20 points. Some tells me for this particular game, they try to turn up here at the house on a Friday night. I'd like the Hornets here -4.5 in this one, guys. Let's go over to the streets of Orlando in this one. Magic getting 5 points at the house versus the Philadelphia 76ers in this one. Sixers have basically owned these guys. 7-3 against the spread last 10 games, 9-1 straight up as well. The Sixers just seem like they own the Magic here. Magic are coming off a loss versus the Atlanta Hawks. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, start to kind of slip. They're coming back home off a 4-game road trip here. They've played 8 of their last 10 games on the road, so I'm sure they're happy to get back to the house. A couple of tough games coming up after this one, Miami and Cleveland as well. I'm not really sure what to do with this game. Obviously, you got Philly balling, riding high right now, but they're going to start to play a lot of games on the road. I believe they play like the second most road games in the second half of the season. They've played 6 of their last 7 at the house, coming off of a huge win versus the Denver Nuggets, where they treated that game like a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure we're going to get here for the Sixers. Be really nice to have Franz Wagner out there for the Magic. If they had everyone, I might be looking towards taking the Magic here plus the 5, especially if they look at the history and say, damn, bro, we've been getting owned by the Sixers. Why not we try to step up here at the house? Obviously, this is one of the better Magic teams that we've seen in a while. They're playing for their coach. They're playing defense. You got Banchero that's playing like an all-star out there. You like what they're seeing from the bench, guys like Cole Anthony, Joe Ingles as well. You see what I'm saying? They're bringing Wendell Carter Jr. off the bench. This Magic team isn't a bad team, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the Sixers have at least a bit of a letdown here coming off of that game, coming off that huge playoff game versus the Denver Nuggets. We know that they played like they played that game like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals here, so could possibly be a little bit of a letdown spot for the Sixers here, laying a 5 on the road. But it's just really tough to fade them. They damn near own the Magic, guys. So I don't really have a good feel for this game. Obviously, you know, when I don't really have a good feel for a game, I stay off. I could see the Sixers continue to dominate the Magic, but also wouldn't be surprised if the Magic were able to keep this game close, if not have a chance to win this game outright. Friday night game at the house, home dog. They've been losing a little bit too much lately. Wouldn't be surprised if Magic turned up here, but the Sixers have absolutely owned them, guys. Let's go over to the streets of Boston in this one. Celtics land 7 points at the house versus the Denver Nuggets in this one. Just a little key stat: the Celtics have beaten these guys the Celtics have won against the defending champs every year in the era that they've had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They have beaten the defending champs every year, with the exception of 2021. They lost versus the Lakers by 1 point. They had a chance to win that game as well. So for whatever reason, the Celtics turn up versus the team that's won the championship the most recent year. We know that the Nuggets aren't the greatest team on the road as well. At the house, they ball out. You know what I'm saying? But on the road, that's where they're most vulnerable. They're only 11-10 on the road, guys. The Denver Nuggets are 7-14 against the spread on the road. So they've been burning their backers' money on the road here. This is a tough game because I don't necessarily – now, the Celtics are the better team. I'll tell you right now, my play for this – so this – I kind of did something the other day. I put a little something on Jason Tatum to win MVP. It's plus 3,000. I just feel like those odds were too high. If he has a really good game tonight, goes for 30, 35, 40 points, and they win, you're going to see those odds start to come down. Just, I don't think that the MVP it should be swayed off one game, but that's just how shit reacts. You see what I'm saying? The Celtics were probably most likely going to finish with the best record in the NBA. I think they're going to win the championship this year. But regardless of all that, Jason Tatum has to start playing better. I think that he was really close to winning MVP. I think he was like top 3. I'm gonna have to check that, but I believe he was like top 3, top 5 in MVP voting last year. Usually when a guy wins MVP, guys, first off, a lot of times, like, if you got the best record in the league, you really have a great chance of winning. Like one of the best players on the best team in the league. And the MVP, you usually have to win it. Like, you got to be really close to winning it the year before. You see what I'm saying? That's why Embiid won it last year, because he was really close to winning it the year before. Jokic won it 2 years in a row, and then it was Embiid. These are the two guys that are leading the way right now. I don't think either one of those guys are winning it. I think it's going to be out of the SGA, Luka, and Jason Tatum. And personally, I just have like a little angle that I think it's going to be a U.S.-born player that's going to win it this year. So that would have to be Tatum out of those 3. You see what I'm saying? He's at plus 3,000. I just think those odds are way too long for the possibility that Jason Tatum could really have a big second half of the season. He's going to need to do well in these type of games on national TV versus versus like teams like the defending champs. So Jason Tatum plus 3,000, in my opinion, is worth at least a little bit of sprinkle for MVP. But one thing I am going to bet Celtics to win the East plus 130. I think they get to the finals, even if they don't win it, which I do think they are. I think the Celtics get there. I mean, longest no barring any injury, nobody's fucking with this Celtics team, man. They're on a mission. To win the East at plus 130, I don't think it's going to be there much longer. I think they're definitely going to close as a favorite here. So I think they win this game, in my opinion. 7 is a little too rich for my blood. I mean, the Nuggets they're no pushovers. Their starting 5 can stay with the Celtics here. It's just when it gets to the bench, that's where the Celtics have the major advantage. But their starting 5, the Nuggets, I'll tell you, they can hang with these guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Celtics outright, but I just don't see it. The Celtics are rolling. They're rolling at the house, 20-0 at the house. The Nuggets, obviously, they're coming off a loss here, but they just don't play their best basketball on the road, in my opinion. I think they're going to start this road trip off 0-2. They can win the next couple of games. They got Washington, they got Indiana. They can win those games. See what I'm saying? But I think they dropped this one versus the Celtics. I'm not laying the 7 with the Celtics. I'm not going to lie to you. But what I'd like to happen, I'd like for Jason Tatum to go over his 27.5 points and the Celtics to win this game. I'm not going to bet it just because like I want it to happen so bad. But that's what I need. And I do think if Jason Tatum goes for 30, 35 tonight and the Celtics win, I think that plus 3,000 is going to be gone. It might start to dip down to maybe plus 2,500, plus 2,000. You see what I'm saying? So, I think the Celtics get the job done in this game. I think Jason Tatum has a big game as well. Heavily lean towards I'm not leaning towards Celtics laying 7, but I do lean towards Jason Tatum going over his 27.5 points. And one play for me that I will go official with, Celtics to win the East at plus 130. I believe that's the best odds out there, my guys. And I know that MVP, like there's plus 2,500 from different places, but you can find plus 3,000 for Jason Tatum to win the MVP this year. I do think it's worth the sprinkle. Obviously, anything can happen, you know what I'm saying, an injury, anything. So it's up to you guys. I don't bet a lot of futures, but I do think there's value on Tatum to win MVP and the Celtics to win the Eastern Conference. You see what I'm saying? Which means that they got to make it to the NBA Finals, but nobody's in the East is fucking with them, man. I'm sorry. I know the Heat are a different team in the playoffs. I know that the Bucks want to be good. I know that the Sixers are good as well, but nobody's messing with this team in Boston, not this year. It would have to take an injury for them not to win the East. Celtics to win the East, plus 130, and a little sprinkle on Jason Tatum to win MVP at plus 3,000, my guys. I do lean towards Celtics to win this game. 7 is a little too rich for me, in my opinion. Let's go over to the streets of New Orleans in this one. Pelicans land 2 points at the house versus the Phoenix Suns. Man, you never know when the Suns going to get it done, man. I don't know what to do with this game. I'll tell you right now, the Pelicans they can ball, and they definitely have the defenders to stay close in this game. Jose Alvarado, Najee Marshall, Herb Jones as well. You see what I'm saying? So they have some absolute lockdown defenders in this game that they can throw up against. Because like the Suns, I'll tell you, the Suns definitely have the more potent offense in this game, but the Pelicans have the much better defense here. So it's honestly, I could see this game going either way. I don't necessarily agree with the Pelicans being favored. I believe they're favored just because they're at the house. But I mean, what we've seen, the Suns they're not a great defensive team, but also, what I've noticed with the Suns, you got to have a high-powered offense to exploit their bad defense. If you're playing slow basketball and playing slow, methodical basketball and half-court offense versus the Suns team, then, I mean, they're not horrible defenders. It's just that they can possibly be ran off the floor. Does that make sense? So teams like the Pacers, teams like the Kings, teams like possibly even like the Hawks or somebody that just like runs and gun and has a really potent offense, or teams like the Celtics, they're going to give the Suns problems. Teams that are a little bit slower and methodical and just worrying about defense, it's just a little bit of a contrast. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that makes sense. But Pelicans have really good defenders. Herb Jones, CJ McCollum's not a bad defender, but Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall, Jose Alvarado, they got the defenders. But I mean, I do think the Suns just overall have the better offensive team, especially if threes are falling as well. And usually when you have a comeback like the Suns did, that's something that usually propels you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know they should have lost that game. They outscored them by 22 points, man, in the last 8 minutes of that game. Something absolutely crazy. We never see shit like that. That's usually something that a team takes and runs with that shit. Like, all right, come on, let's go. If we wouldn't have got down 22, we could have blown them out. You see what I'm saying? So Pelicans have the much better defense. Suns have the better offense, though. So honestly, I don't know what to do with this game. I do think the Pelicans try to slow these guys down. This could be an under spot, in my opinion. This could be an under game where the Pelicans just try to make them play at their pace, because you don't want to run and gun. Like, if the Pelicans want to win this game, you don't want to run and gun with the Suns and get into an offensive shootout, because the Suns will beat you at that. See what I'm saying? So if it's the Pelicans, your best chance of winning this one is to try to muck this game up, try to have them boys playing in the mud, try to slow the tempo down. That's what the Pelicans should do here. I think the under 237 probably hits in this game, but it's not something I'm super strong on. I also wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics Nuggets game went under as well. And also, I forgot to mention, I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs Hornets game went over. No, especially with the Spurs. Obviously, they don't play a ton of defense. No Wemby, so you don't really have that the blocks possibility at the rim. I could see that game going over as well in this one, man. But I'd heavily lean to the under 237 in this Suns versus Pelicans game. Let's go over to the streets of Miami in this one, guys. Heat laying 7.5 at the house versus Atlanta Hawks. No Trae Young. I don't even know why they listed him questionable. He didn't even make the trip with the team. They got to stop doing this shit, man. It's okay with it's okay announcing that he didn't make the trip with the team. I feel like that's very unfair. The fact that Trae Young's been downgraded to questionable with a shoulder injury. He's not even in Miami, man. So I just really don't understand shit. But whatever. Regardless of the case, Trae Young's out. This is Udonis Haslam's jersey retirement game. So the Heat are coming off a game where they got absolutely smoked. I'm talking about from start to finish. They were down, I believe, 20-some points in the first quarter versus the Toronto Raptors in their last game, guys. So this is a Heat bounce back game. They've done really well versus the Atlanta Hawks. They're 7-3 straight up in the last 10 games, but only versus the Hawks, but only 5-5 against the spread. So for whatever reason, Hawks have been able to keep it close versus the Heat, but that's obviously with Trae Young in there. Now, usually you'd like to say Trae Young out. Oh, okay, I want to take the Hawks, but we know that this team has problems. We know this time around, I think Trae Young being out might really affect might really be bad for them. You see what I'm saying? So because we know that DeJounte Murray, he's running the team right now, but he's also, like, we can't say for sure, but he's likely to get traded. You see what I'm saying? So with him running the show, but obviously they got Jalen Johnson back. He's been balling. The Hawks have a great bench. For the Heat, Duncan Robinson got downgraded to questionable. So and they would miss him, because the Heat right now, in my opinion, they can't be missing anybody. This is a tough game, I'll tell you right now, but I could still only look towards the Heat here. First off, they got to bounce back after coming off a horrible game versus the Raptors, and it's a Udonis Haslam. Like, it's going to be a rah-rah spot for the Heat with Udonis Haslam getting his jersey retired. You're not, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to lose this game. Like, you hate losing games when it's like when they're honoring somebody or something like that. So this is a Heat bounce back spot. We know that the Hawks aren't the greatest team. They don't have Trae Young out there, which could be good, could be bad. But in this particular spot, I could only look towards the Heat, especially with Udonis Haslam jersey retirement, bounce back spot, and they've just they're just much more of a hard-nosed team than the Atlanta Hawks. None of those guys are really on the trade block, so they know exactly who's going to be there. I'd still lean towards the Heat here, even at the 7.5 in this game, my guys. Let's go over to the streets of Portland in this one. Blazers getting 5 points at the house versus the Indiana Pacers. Blazers coming off of a win in this one. I believe I looked at it last night. It's the last game of a 5-game road. No, they got one more game after this. They play the Suns the next game. It's a tough game because the Pacers obviously been playing a ton of games. This is their 5th straight game on the 4th straight game on the West Coast. It's not 3rd game in 4 nights because they had 2 days off before that Sacramento game, but it's still a back-to-back. See what I'm saying? But I mean, the Blazers aren't good. They're coming off a win as well. They do get DeAndre Ayton back in this one. They got Jeremy Grant back. It's a tough game, man. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a tough game. In theory, you'd like to lean to the Pacers here, especially with Siakam is going to play in this game. You just don't know if he's going to come over there and like, he hasn't even practiced with the team. See what I'm saying? So definitely be interested to see if they're going to start him here. I don't know if they could do that. They brought him over there to be a starter, but are you really going to start him in the game? And he's only he hadn't even practiced with the team yet. You see what I'm saying? So it looks good to take the Pacers here, but Siakam could kind of come over there and mess things up. I don't think that Halliburton is possibly come back in this one. I think he probably comes back versus the Suns. This is just a tough game, especially with the Pacers at the rest disadvantage. I mean, this is the Blazers here. You never know what you're going to get from the fucking Blazers. I can't talk you all just staying off their games. You don't know if they're going to come and ball out and try to ball, or if they're just going to tank the game. But this is a tanking team this season, guys. I will let you know that the Blazers are going to be tanking. There's not many games that they're going to try to win. You see what I'm saying? So I guess with all that being said, I lean towards Pacers. I do think Siakam coming into this game kind of messed things up. They're coming off a back-to-back, a big win in Sacramento. I'd lean Pacers, but it'd be really interesting to see what they do with Siakam, because it'd be really crazy to throw him into a starting lineup and he hadn't even practiced with the team. That would actually be really crazy. But we know that the Pacers are the much better team here. I don't know what to do with this game. Lean Pacers. I can only look towards Pacers here, but I mean, hey, you never know with the fucking Blazers, man. Just like, let's go over to the streets of LA here. Just like you never know. Now, this Nets team is trash, man. This Nets team is trash. I watched the game versus the Heat. I think that Vaughn tried to lose that game on purpose. He didn't challenge a foul call that wasn't a foul. Dennis Smith Jr. versus Jimmy Butler. It was basically like the game-winning free throws for Jimmy Butler in overtime. So first off, it was like a bang-bang type of play. They didn't challenge it on purpose, and he didn't even call a timeout after that. They had one timeout left, and this guy let them go full court and throw up a bullshit shot. Didn't even run up a play. In my opinion, I think that Jacques Vaughn, I think that they were kind of tanking the game and lost the game on purpose. I do think the Nets might be another team that might start tanking. You're starting to hear things about these guys trading people. You see what they've done the last 9 of the last 10 games. They're 1-9 straight up, 1-8-1 against the spread. I want no part of this Brooklyn Nets team. Lakers are starting to play a lot better. They know exactly what starting lineup they're going with now. Maybe Ham is really starting to figure out his lineup rotations. Could only look Lakers here, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I know that this is an ESPN game, late night game. Everybody's going to be on the Lakers. Nobody's going to want the Nets. I can't go anywhere near this team, man. I'm sorry. I literally saw them systematically lose a game on purpose. I want no part of this Nets team. Maybe they could cover the spread. I don't fucking know, but I'm just letting you know the facts about the Nets. I literally saw them lose a game on purpose. That will always have me thinking some type of way, or having me second guess backing teams like that. They just lost to the Portland Trailblazers as well. Remember, trying to tank, man. They're tanking hard. So me personally, I want no parts of this Nets team, my guys. But it's time to get up out of here, man. I'll let you know some future. I never really bet futures, guys, but I do see value on these. I do see value on the Celtics winning these. I mean, honestly, I think that they might just win the championship this year. You never know, because sometimes these motherfuckers choke, but they are on a mission. But them to win the East at plus money, that's just something I got to put some on. Give me the Celtics to win the East at plus 130. I sprinkled on Jason Tatum to win MVP at plus 3,000. He needs to win this. He needs to do well in this game tonight versus Jokic. Those odds will move. If they win tonight and Jason Tatum goes for 30, 35 points, I do think that the odds will start to shift. He's going to obviously have to have a big second half of the year, but they're going to have the best record. He's the best player on the best team in the NBA. I think plus 3,000 is too long of it's a long shot bet, guys. I'm telling you that right now, and that's just how futures are, because everything can go wrong. Like one thing has to go right, and everything can go wrong. So that's how futures are. If he gets injured, you're fucked. It's that simple. So I'm just letting you know, I keep it real with you guys, but heavily lean. If I had one top play on today's card, it would be the Charlotte Hornets minus 4.5. It's really tough to lay points with these tanking type of teams, but they do have revenge versus the San Antonio Spurs off a 36-point loss. That was only 3 games ago. They've gotten blown out 3 straight times with LaMelo Ball back in the lineup. This is their first winnable game really since then. They've lost 6 straight home games as well. They don't really have a home game that is like, it's probably going to take another month for them to get another home win after tonight. I think the Hornets try to turn up at least for one game and win this game, and LaMelo tries to show out in this particular game versus Spurs with no Wemby out there. So Hornets minus 4.5 would be the top play. I'm not in a hurry to lay points with one of the worst teams in the NBA. I'll tell you that right now. So I'm just telling you straight up, but I do heavily lean towards the Hornets. But something I did bet, Celtics to win the East plus 130, sprinkled on Jason Tatum to win MVP at plus 3,000. 76ers Magic, I have no fucking idea. I heavily lean towards the Celtics, but I do think that 7 is a little rich. But in my play in that game, I lean towards under 234, but I would still probably go with Jason Tatum over 27 and a half. If he wants to win MVP, this is a huge game for him on ESPN versus one of the best players in the league in Nikola Jokic. Jason Tatum has to go for at least 30 tonight, and the Celtics got to win if I'm going to have a chance at that plus 3,000 ticket there. So I want that to happen. I want it to happen so bad that I'm not going to bet it, if that makes sense. But I do think Jason Tatum goes over his 27 and a half. I'm not sure who's going to stop him on the Nuggets over there. They don't really have no defensive stoppers like that. Put Michael Porter Jr. on his ass and see what Jason Tatum do to Michael Porter Jr. Gonna put up a 40 ball on his ass. I like that over 27 and a half, guys. I do. I need it to happen so bad that I don't want to bet it. But I do think it's that's the play in that game. Suns Pelicans. I do think that it goes under the 237, guys. It kind of looks easy to take Pelicans here. They're definitely the much more rounded, complete team, especially defensively. But I mean, if the Suns start to make threes, man, I wouldn't be surprised if they used some of that momentum from that Kings game and brought it on the road and got the job done here in this game. Also, heavily leaned towards the Heat. You've done this Haslam jersey retirement game, and this is a bounce back spot for the Heat as well, coming off a horrible game versus the Raptors. I'm talking about from the get-go. They were down 23. I believe they were down 41-19 in the first quarter. They got absolutely smoked versus the Raptors. The Heat probably come out here early and often in a bounce back game versus the trash-ass, poorly coached, no defense playing Atlanta Hawks. Pacers game, I'd lean towards Pacers, but I'm just off the game. I don't see Siakam coming in there. It might throw things off, man. Who knows, my guys? Who knows? But those are some bets for me. Celtics to win the East, plus 130, guys. That's my play of the day for today. Obviously, it's a future. Obviously, you don't have to bet it. It's totally on you guys. A little sprinkle on me for Jason Tatum over to win MVP, plus 3,000, my guys. If you want to take his over 27.5 points tonight versus the Nuggets, I'm not going to talk you off. I need it to happen. I need Tatum to go for fucking 40 points tonight and Celtics to win, and them MVP odds going to start to shift, man. That's what I'm liking. It's really a tough card. I do have a spot that I'm liking tonight, guys. I mean, tomorrow. So if you guys can, please hit the like button. If you're not signed, you got to be signed into YouTube, but it's just a thumbs up at the bottom of the show, guys. For people that don't know how to hit the like, it's just a thumbs up at the bottom of the show. All you got to do is click it, and it's going to give us a like. Let's get to 2,000 likes on this show. There's going to be a Saturday show. You see what I'm saying? There's a play that's really speaking to me tomorrow, and let's cash it, my brothers. Let's cash it. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Go download Action Network app, man. It's all love. Let's get this cash. I hope everybody has a great day, great night, man. Great weekend, all that good stuff. I hope everybody's out there doing well, taking care of your family. You see what I'm saying? It's all love. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up at the bottom of the video, my guys. Please, please, please. Let's get to 2,000 likes. We out. Let's go.